Hello lads and welcome back to the channel. It's been a long time since I've uploaded. Obviously if you've seen me update video you'll know why. I did stream yesterday and I will be streaming more, so I can talk about that if you want. For this video we're going to get straight into this kind of experiment. Basically what I was thinking of doing is something that I'm surprised no one else has done, considering how long I've been away and doing numerous stuff, and just considering how much this is talked about. I mean, it's not thoroughly talked about in real life, but there have been mentions of it, you know, every so often in little stat pages on Instagram, etc. What I'm thinking of doing is a kind of, well, it's not exactly Brexit, but it's a kind of Brexit situation where we've got all the foreign players who aren't from the British Isles have left each club, and what happens is I've made a team of all these players from the British Isles, bringing back players from loan unless they're from another team in the Premier League. And what I've also done is, because obviously some teams are going to be very thin and you know they're not going to have enough players at all, I've went into Football Manager and got some of the youth players and made youth players there as well. And because I can only make 30 youth players, that's firstly why I've brought players back on loan, and secondly that's why some squads will be incredibly thin and there might only be 2 players in the reserves, but that's down to the team. I think that's a penalty for the team for not having enough British players personally. So Brexit in FIFA, who wins, who goes down? It'll be very interesting to see, and I think the league will definitely be a lot more even. Let's have a look at the teams. Right lads, we're kicking it off with Arsenal, and they've got a very mixed team. Their defence is very shaky. The fullbacks are alright. They've got a decent front three, if you could say, with Walcott, Welbeck and Oxlade-Chamberlain. But you can see there Maitland-Niles, Sheaf and Holden, and the keeper might let them down a lot. 2.5 star, half of their original rating. Bournemouth have the same rating they've got in the actual game, but you can see their squad's been slightly weaker, namely in the goalkeeper position. You can see everyone else is round about the same as they would be in real life. There's a couple of omissions, but overall Bournemouth have, you know, come out of this pretty well. Next up are Burnley, again a team that have come out of it pretty well. They are also the same rating they are in real life. They've got the first strong keeper we've seen, Tom Heaton. We'll obviously be seeing, you know, a couple more strong keepers, but you know, keepers are very good in simulated games from what I've seen. And we've got, you know, standout players here. It's a good example of a proper British team, 4-4-2 as well. Chelsea are another team which has been hit hard in the goalkeeper position. You can also see that left-hand side is not doing very well in terms of rating. The standout players are Terry and Cahill at the back, and they're the real players that are going to have to try and carry this 2.5 star team, half their original star rating. Crystal Palace have come away from this also pretty well, and they could be up there near the end of the season. They've got a solid keeper in Wayne Hennessy, a decent defence. The only place which has been hit heavily, really, you could say, that is the right mid position, where usually you'd have Wilf Zaha earlier in the season, but since he's confirmed he's going to play for the Ivory Coast, we've put Kai there. Everton have also done well to keep the majority of their squad intact. They have lost the star off their rating, but they've got some solid players, including, you know, this starting 11 is decent, apart from you go up the team and you realise the attack's a bit weak, Lookman and Davies, but you've got to remember those two scored 2 goals in a 4-0 win against City earlier on in the season. Can they produce that magic? Can they carry the team and score goals? You've got the likes of Barkley who can chip in as well. It's a decent team, but again, the goalkeeping position, it doesn't look good. Hull have come out of this relatively unharmed, got a decent team. There's a couple of key players missing obviously, but you can see there, 3 of the back 4 are very solid. They've got a solid keeper. There's a couple of 60s around there, but overall they've got a pretty average team, and I expect them to survive this season. Leicester have been hit more than I actually thought when you properly think about it. They have been hit pretty hard. They've got Ben Hamer in goal, but they've lost a couple of good players here. They've still got key players like Vardy, Drinkwater and Albrighton, who are all very good players and helped them to the title be now 2 seasons ago. But they have, you know, they're going to struggle. Liverpool have overall got an average team. They've got a 380 rated, 480 rated, 580 rated players, and they've got 270 rated and the rest is 60. So it's very all over the place. but they have managed to come out of it with a 3.5-star rating. Right, I'd say Man City are one of the teams that have really come out of this poorly. I did say I was playing lone players. Joe Hart's come back into the team, but away from that, they've got, again, a couple of 80 rated players. They've got Sterling, Stones and Hart. Fabian Delph is one of the only 70 rated players, and then you can see there's the 60s and there's even 50 rated players here. Again, that left hand side, like Chelsea I think it was, not holding out too good. Now looking at Manchester United, they've got a decent starting 11. We've got DJ Buffon is the only weakness really in the starting 11. They've gone back to 4-4-2 how it used to be, and they've got, you know, a solid team. I expect them to do alright this season. Going on to Middlesbrough, they've got a good team. I think they haven't lost too many key players. Obviously they've got a few, namely Alvaro Negredo and Victor Valdez, two, you know, key players for them, especially in simulated matches because they're quite high rated in FIFA. This is the team they've got. 3-star, rather average, but I expect them to, you know, at least survive this season. Southampton are a team that tend to bring the youth through, and you can see that here. They've got quite a lot of youth players, but they're, you know, they're in at the least low 60s. They've got a solid keeper in Fraser Forster, and they've got overall, you know, a decent front three. They've got a good team, and I expect them to be probably in the top half. Spurs have been hit by this more than I thought they would. You can see the goalkeeping position really isn't great. They're now a 3-star team. The fullbacks are going to be carrying them, as well as Kane and Ali, Eric Dyer as well. They've got a decent spine apart from this Magahoma in defence. Yeah, their team's been, you know, dropped more than I thought, because when you think of Spurs, you think of they've got great English players, which they have. You've got highest rated English players in the game, but that's also accompanied with some 60s and some 50s. Stoke have come out with this pretty well. You can see the only problem really is the centre-back position, where you've got Edwards there. Got a solid team, you know how Stoke are. They've got, you know, a decent team all around. I've put Berahino out wide, Jonathan Walters, Peter Crouch. You know, they've got some good players, and if they utilise them well, they could finish, you know, up there. Moving on to Sunderland, who obviously finished rock bottom in the Premier League. They've got an average starting 11, I'd say. Their main player, obviously, Jermaine Defoe. They've got weak wings. You can see there that I'll probably move McNair and Lescott, so McNair plays right back. An alright starting 11, but as it is with a couple of other teams, it doesn't go much further than that. They've got a pretty weak team outside the starting 11, so if someone does get injured, it will look a bit troubling. Right, Swansea have actually come out of this pretty well as well. We've got Burnley up front, the 62. You've got James on the left mid. You know, he's at the 60. But apart from that, you can see they're all 70s, apart from the keeper, Brigitte. You know, it's a decent team, and I expect them to survive comfortably. On to the weakest team in the experiment. You can see here, Watford are having an absolute nightmare when they've lost their foreign players. You can see here, look at that. 1-star rating. We've got Tom Cleverley out wide. We've got Sinclair on the wing, when he's usually a striker. I've had to, you know, play players in positions which they mightn't usually play, just so I can get a full starting 11 out here. But you can see they are really struggling, and it would be a miracle for them to survive this season. West Brom have got a solid team. Apart from, you know, maybe their option up front, Robson Kanu, they've got a decent team. The fullbacks, again, positions, but their spine in general is pretty decent. They're going to be tough to break down, just like they are in real life. Centre-back partnership, and obviously Ben Foster in goal. And finally, we have West Ham United. They have got a 4-4-2 formation going with a decent team. They've brought Reece Oxford back, who they've recently sent on loan again to a team that's better than them. I don't quite understand that. They've got, you know, a couple of weaknesses. Ashley Fletcher's alright, but as long as he's got his strike partner Andy Cowell up front. Dobson is a noticeable weakness in the midfield, but apart from that, they've got a solid team. I expect them to do alright this season. Nothing special though. Right lads, we're going to sim this in tournament mode, just for the reason that I don't want anyone to buy any foreign players. Otherwise it kind of, you know, destroys the point of the experiment. I know you can disable them for the first window, but there's no doubt that Man United are going to pick up Dybala or something in the January transfer window if I do that. So we're going to make sure there's no transfers by simulating in tournament mode, and it's the same rules as the Premier League, and we'll see what happens after the first 18 or so games, the halfway point. and I'll see you back then. Right at the halfway point, we have got some very interesting results. The top 4 consists of Burnley, who ran away with it this first half of the season. They've ended up, what, 7 points clear? In second, we've got Stoke, followed by West Brom and Crystal Palace. But you can see it's very tight up there. Southampton, West Ham, even Man United could be in with a shout. And you can see there, it's very close. Everyone from, the top 10 have got a good chance of making it in the top 4, and even below that. We can see near the bottom, we're getting, Man United have managed to stay up there-ish. They're only 2 points off where they finished in real life. You've got the likes of Man City down there, Chelsea down there, and Arsenal in 20th. Arsenal have finished in 20th position halfway through the season. You expect them to carry that on because, I'd be very surprised if Watford didn't finish last. But that's an awful start of the season for Arsenal. Oh dear. Right. First of all, I know I've just finished school, but I can at half numbers, apparently, because I said the halfway point, I only showed you 18 games in, right? That's my own fault. But I've realised now, so before you start slating us in the comments, right? At least I've remembered. Anyway, noticeable similarity. Burnley have won the Premier League. They've kept the same points gap as they did the last stage I showed you. Not halfway through. The top 4 is made up by West Ham, Stoke City and West Brom. It has changed quite a bit. I did say it was quite tight there. Making the rest of Europe spots, we've got Southampton, Sunderland and Man United, depending on obviously who won the FA Cup. The bottom 3 is made up by Bournemouth, who I'm very surprised with. They had a decent team going into it, and I would have expected them to do a lot better. I think they've underperformed personally. Watford have finished 19th, which means Arsenal have finished rock bottom. 15 points from safety, 2 points from Watford. That is an atrocious season. I mean, I knew they didn't have the best squad, but I was sure that they had a squad able to compete, at least, mid-table. But no, they've finished rock bottom. Top scorers, Jonathan Walters has managed to pick up the golden boot just ahead of Robbie Brady. Jermaine Defoe, Sam Vokes, and Danny Ings up there as well, making up the top 5. I'll scroll down here if you want to see all the players who've made it onto this list. In terms of assists, we've got Mark Noble making the most amount of assists with 10. You can see there's quite a lot of West Ham players here, so they must have scored a lot of goals to get them into the top 4. You can see here Gray, Punchin, Antonio and Adam Matthews make the top 5 assists. As you can see, Darren Randolph has got the most clean sheets. He walks away with the Golden Glove, just ahead of Ben Foster, Sam Johnstone, which is a bit surprising, and Fraser Forster. And Jack Butland helps make up the top 5. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed seeing how this experiment's planned out. I'll see you all next time. Thank you very much once again, and I'll see you later, lads.